All right, let's settle in. Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale. And exhale. Let's do another. Inhale. And exhale. All right. Everybody turn to a partner. So find a partner. It can be in front of you, behind you. No worries. Anybody not have a partner? Do we have an odd number? Anyone not have a partner? If so, I got you. Everyone got one? Everybody got somebody they can make eye contact with it? All right, all right. So make eye contact with your partner. Just see your partner for a second. Giggles are good if that happens. If it feels weird, lean into that. And let's take a deep breath together. Inhale and exhale. And back to me. Beautiful. All right, good morning. Good morning. Oh, wow, thank you. So my name is Riley. I am a proud graduate of the class of 2013, and I have gotten really good at teaching stress management, and I love it. And so I'm really excited to be here with you guys today. And we're gonna start with me sharing how I got from where you're sitting to where I'm standing right now, and then we're gonna get into some stress management stuff, and I'm gonna keep that tight so we can maybe do some questions and answers. So if you have any questions, dog ear it, and we'll carve out some time at the end. Sound good? Yeah. Amazing, amazing. So I showcased in New York in 2013, and I was all set with my pen to sign with an agent and in New York, and 5 days before, I decided I'm gonna move to Colorado and hike every day. And so I went and I did that, and I was hiking every day. And I think what's really important about that segment of this story is that in Colorado, I rediscovered my love of singing. I had become hypercritical in school, which I think is really good. You know, while you're training, listening to yourself and saying, no, I was a little under there, or oh, I was sharp there, and I need more support in this place. Like became hypercritical about my voice and recording it and listening to it, and I think that was really good because I made a lot of strides in becoming better at what I do. But every time singing came up, I entered this sort of like critical space of like, okay, you know, I stopped enjoying it, and I didn't really realize that. And so when I was living in the mountains, I was living my full like Maria Von Trapp, you know, I was like going out, the hills are alive, like full out in the mountains, like, and I was like, wait, I actually really love singing. Like, that's why I started doing this, is because it feels really good to do. And there was even a time I was singing some Lauryn Hill out there in the mountains, and I'm listening to Zion, I'm singing, and a bear literally stands up out of the woods and like stares at me, and I'm like, oh wait, they say you're supposed to make noise to scare a bear away. So then I was staring at it and I was like, now the joy of my world. And I'm like singing at the bear, and it was like, and it started running away. And I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep going. And so I like sort of cracked open my heart there and like rediscovered my love of singing, because I was in a place that nobody was really like assessing it. And on the trail, people would be like, were you the one who was singing? That was awesome. And I would get like a lot of positive affirmation that they were like, wow, when people are singing, the joy of that is contagious. It really is. Like, singing is something a lot of people are really locked up about in the world. And I think in a place like this, where everyone is a musician, we can sometimes take that for granted. I know that I did. That a lot of people day to day throughout the world, like, they had some experience in their life where they sang and someone told you, you suck, and they stopped doing it. And they really will never do it again unless it's somebody's birthday. And so like singing is really an amazing privilege and can be such a potent antidote for stress, but the industry surrounding it often can be so stress-inducing. And so what we're going to talk about today is how to like access more of the joy of the singing and see if we can exhale some of the stress that surrounds the industry of performing. Sound good? Awesome. So from Colorado, I did actually get sick of that because I was like enjoying the mountains, but I really love the intellectual stimulation of New York and Boston, and having performing opportunities, professional opportunities. That was important to me, but I wasn't ready to totally give up being in a place that was so scenically beautiful. And so I moved to the amazing city of Seattle, Washington. Anyone from the Northwest here? Well, everyone is still there because they love the Northwest, I guess. But I moved to Seattle. They've got really an amazing theater scene, and it's just breathtakingly beautiful if you don't mind rain. And I love rain. And so I went and I moved to Seattle, and I loved that. And then, of course, after I moved there, I got a call from a cruise line I had auditioned for in New York while I was in school. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm doing that. And I moved to Toronto to go rehearse, and then I was doing the ship, and that was a really cool experience. I saw a lot of amazing places. I love performing. I would never do it again, but I absolutely loved it, and I totally recommend it. And I really do. It's a great place to save money and like see the world, and yeah, super cool. So I was doing that on the ship, and then after that I returned to Seattle, adopted my dog Chicken, who is incredible, which was my insurance policy not to get back on the ship. But she's amazing, and adopt, don't shop. And I stayed in Seattle, and I started doing really cool shows there. And I was teaching at performing arts summer camps and after school programs, and I started getting really good at working with kids. I was like, wait, this is really awesome. Like, this is actually a superpower. And so I started working with the kiddos, and then I did an educational theater tour with the Fifth Avenue Theater there, where I was traveling for 6 months around the state of Washington, going into different schools, performing and facilitating talkbacks. I was like, this is actually what I do. I was like, I got such a rush out of going into a group of kids who I do not know, having an amazing time and hearing what they had to say. And so I was like, wait, there's something to this. And so I started feeling curious about that. I enrolled in a children's mental health program in Santa Fe, New Mexico, which was kind of ceremonious for me because my first role here as a freshman was Collins and Rent, and I was, Santa Fe sort of had this sort of mysterious place in my mind, and so like living there, it's way colder than you think, by the way. It's 7,200 feet above sea level, so if you ever go there, it is not warm. It's colder than Boston sometimes. It's amazing. So I moved to Santa Fe. I was living off-grid in an RV up in the hills. It was incredible. And then I joined a leadership team in a school in New Orleans, where I was teaching performing arts and mindfulness. And it was incredible. I was working with kids one-on-one who were sort of struggling, emotionally navigating being in school. There was no performing arts program. There was no arts education at all. No school counselor. Like, it was, kind of bare bones. And so I was able to start developing my own curriculum. And that led to me starting my own business, where I offer youth mentorship one-on-one. And I started teaching self-compassionate voice lessons. I started studying mindful self-compassion, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and became certified as a mindfulness teacher. And so these are voice lessons that, they teach vocal technique, but it's really for folks who love to sing, who want to sing, but are plagued by the fear of judgment of others and negative self-talk. And singing is something that, why do people do it in the shower? Why do people sing in their car, but they're like, oh, but I won't sing in front of other people? And like, we live in a culture that loves like singing competitions, right? Like, we love like American Idol, Voice, all of that. And like, getting up and singing in front of people, and inevitably there's gonna be a panel of people who tell you, are you good enough to proceed? How did you do? And that's, something that's kind of mirrored in training as well. Like, receiving feedback is how we get better. But it's really difficult sometimes, I think, to then put that aside and sing for you. That lens of judgment can kind of be pervasive throughout the rest of, our experience as a singer. And so a lot of people don't sing at all because of that. And so I offer voice lessons for people who are like, I want to sing, but I'm afraid to. And they've been practicing for years, having judgment that sees them up, and that tension only makes, their voice sound more tense. And so then I've started teaching those voice lessons and teaching stress management classes like this for performing artists, for teachers, for parents, police departments, for folks where we can release some of the tension that allows people to actually channel stress into something that leads them closer to their desired objective versus like panic, I'm going to react and do something that maybe I don't intend to do. And so that's really what stress management is about in this class. This is not about, removing tension from your lives, because everyone's life intentionally will have stressors. There's no avoiding that. Life is stressful, this industry is stressful, you're, in a really exciting place in your lives, but it's also very demanding. There's a lot being asked of you. And so that is what stress is. And so it's not about removing the stress, but it's about noticing that feeling of stress and how we can focus our energy and see what is that stress asking us to do. So, and I also still get to perform. I mean, while I run my own business, in the winter I'll be performing probably the biggest role that I've gotten to do. So like, if there's anything I want you to take from this, it's that you can make the next best decision in the moment. You don't have to decide your whole life right now. You are going to be just fine. All of you, I promise. You don't have to decide right now. Step 3 couldn't have come without step 2. Step 6 couldn't have come without step 5 or step 1. Each thing leads to the next thing. So in the moment, you say, hey, this seems like the next best thing that's available to me. I'm curious about it. Pursue the curiosity. It doesn't have to be right. If there's any advice I could give you, it's to stay with it. It's to stay curious and when you're experiencing something, saying, what is this doing for me? Is this filling my cup more than it's draining it? And if it's draining it more than it's filling it, that cue is just telling you to make an adjustment. And then you've learned. Like, that actually doesn't make it a bad thing. That makes it a really good thing, because now you know, doing that in those circumstances around these people drains me more than it fills me. Like, what are we on this planet for? If something is draining you more than it's filling you, like, where does that go? So it's making, okay, let me try another adjustment. You don't have to know what fills you, but entertain the curiosity of what might fill you and try that and see, and then stay with it. How does that feel? Okay, it fills me a little more. I don't like this part of it, so let me see, is there something that does the thing that fills me but doesn't have the thing that drains me? And then try that. And then we're fine-tuning. Because, now I'm living the dream, but that came from me taking a lot of risks. Moving to Colorado, moving to Seattle, doing the ship, going to New Orleans. You keep trying something and it's like, okay, there are a lot of things I loved about that. That taught me this, but I'm not down for that. So I'm doing this now. And this keeps the part of that I loved, but doesn't have the part I didn't love. And so now, I'm able to do exactly what I love to do, make more money than I ever thought I could, and, sort of live my truth and still perform. And I think when I was graduating, I thought things were really binary. Okay, am I going to live in Times Square and perform on Broadway? Or am I gonna be living in Colorado and like chopping wood and living off grid and like working at a pizza restaurant? I love pizza. And like doing that only? Or am I gonna be a community leader in New Orleans and like, that's my truth? And like doing that, and like I do it all. And like that is possible for all of you. You don't have to choose like, my life has to solely be this one thing and I have to give up these other things I'm curious about. Like, explore them all, you can have it all. And so, here we are. And I gotta tell you, like, when I was a senior, people would come in as alumni and talk, and I'd be like, I wonder what that's like to kind of talk to people. And I have to say, like, right now, standing in this space, like, it feels really cool. Like, I was sitting in those chairs. I think they're a little different, but like, but like I was sitting in those chairs, it looked the same. I mean, this is what this looked like between 2009 and 2013. So like, like it's cool to be in this space, talking about this stuff, and really the lens I passed this class through is, this is the class I wish I'd had. So like that's, when I thought about what am I going to share with the seniors is stuff I wish I had been told. So that's sort of that story. And so stress. What is it? I mean, who can tell me what is stress? If an alien came down and was like, "What is this stress you are experiencing? Can you describe it?" Like, what would you describe stress as? Who can tell me? I see you. What's your name?
Alyssa.
Alyssa, what's stress?
Well, I think of like a stick, and like you start to bend the stick, and the stress is like all the protons, protons.
Woo! Yes! Oh my God, Alyssa, thank you. I love that because stress does actually have multiple definitions. So structurally, stress is, tension, right? So you're talking about the tension, and then we can relate that to us emotionally. But really what we're talking about here is this is a physiological and oftentimes emotional response to a demanding circumstance. We're being asked a lot in a moment. Walking into an audition, okay, I'm ready to nail it. I'm putting the music down for the accompanist, and I'm walking through the music. The last page is missing with the money note. That is a demanding circumstance because already the audition is a demanding circumstance because you are being observed, and there's a time limit. Those are demands that are placed on you. Those are stressors. So we are under stress. Stress is not like a bad thing inherently. I think it's gotten a bad rap, but like stress itself is actually asking us to do something. So we are under stress. So then when the page is missing, it becomes a very demanding circumstance from just a demanding one, right? Like there's something that feels like the earth is about to explode. Like there's something gravely wrong and I need to do something. So stress is not bad. I mean, why does stress exist? Why do we have a stress response? Anyone? Yes. What's your name?
Carly.
What is it?
Carly.
Carly.
Yeah.
Hi, Carly. Nice to meet you too. Why do we have stress? Why do you think?
It's just like a fight or flight response so that we know what to do when something's coming at us.
Yes, fight or flight. We're talking about why we evolved to have a response that draws all of our focus to a given circumstance. We hear wolves howl. That means I need to grab the spear, gather the family, seek shelter, right? Like this is what we evolved to do. Like if you're just like, yeah, we're cool, your dinner. Like we're supposed to have a stress response. Fire alarm goes off. It'll be fine. No, that's the thing that tells you, grab the Laducas, the teacup chihuahua in that order, and like get out, like that is, that is, why we have stress. And so it's actually an amazing thing. But what we do is we will entertain the idea of like what we're stressing about while we're lying in bed and like fear trip about all the ways that this could go wrong. And stress, because we're putting all our focus on it, is taking a lot of energy from our nervous system. So it can actually make us really ill if we are just stressing about something over and over and over and not doing something about it. And we're just lying there. Like, as Carly shared, fight or flight. Like, if you're thinking about the stress and you are doing neither, you are just putting your body through a response that is actually supposed to motivate you to do something. So it really wears a lot on us. So we wake up feeling like really exhausted. Our immune system is, less geared to fight infection. Like, there's a lot more science, and we're not going to talk about that. I won't bore you with that. But if we are sustaining a stress response longer than it's asking us to, it wears on us. So that is the reason why we have a stress response. So it's actually really good that we are able to respond this way. So how do we identify that we're feeling stressed? Like, how do we know? We're just trying to live our lives. Would you mind coming up here? Amazing. All right, give a round of applause. Encourage this person. Okay. What's your name?
Sierra.
Sierra.
Yeah.
Okay. So when Sierra starts singing, I want you to. Okay. What are you feeling right now? Tell me. What's the physical sensation?
Stress.
Yeah. So tell me, where do you feel it in your body?
Like chest, like
chest?
shoulders, complete panic.
Chest, shoulders, complete panic. So describe the sensation. What does it feel like in your chest?
Like a tightness.
Tightness.
Also like a tightness in my throat.
And tightness in your throat.
Yeah.
Amazing. You're not singing. Okay. No. So describe the sensation you just had.
Just like it was a release of that tension and like a warmth, a lightness.
Warmth and lightness, amazing. And in the same space, in your chest?
Yeah, in my chest, also like in my shoulders.
Your
like,
shoulders.
Lower back as well.
Lower back? What did the lower back feel like?
Well, I'm just always like tense in my lower back, so I think like where I hold a lot of tension, so then it just like.
Gotcha, so it felt like a bit of a release.
Yes.
You're amazing. Have a seat, let's give a round of applause. All right. So, thank you for letting me subject you to that stress. Did anyone feel stress on her behalf when I said that? Okay, great. And did anyone feel relief when I said she's not singing? Anyone feel that? None of you were on the spot, but you felt it. So that is also a testament to the fact that stress is contagious. So like, when you bring stress into a room, that impacts the room you're in, and someone else brings stress into a room, it's going to impact you. And that also makes performing really compelling, because you can watch someone go through something, and when they're going through it, we're in the audience like totally with it, and then when they have relief, we do too. So like that is amazing. So when we're wielding it, we get to wield it rather than be wielded by it. And so that makes it amazing. We love watching someone feel stressed on stage. If you watch a show where nobody went through anything, like who cares? You know, like, we want to watch people go through stuff and like figure it out, you know? So when we can identify actually that stress response, we can actually like tap into that on stage and have like a more keen sort of awareness of like where that lives in the body. And when we can tap into that, it's like more authentic. So thank you for like modeling that, because I put you in a demanding circumstance there. Like putting someone on the spot to sing without any warning, that's demanding, but that could happen to any of you. At certain times, you're into dance. Actually, we're gonna sing right now, everybody. Boom, a cappella, like you could be put on the spot and it's like, are you gonna do it or are you not? And if you panic, you panic. But if you say, ooh, this is a demanding circumstance, it's asking a lot of me, let's go. Like if you can take that sensation and then focus into, oh yeah, I'm feeling stressed. I just noticed my chest get tight. I noticed my throat seizing up. That means I'm feeling stressed. So I want everyone in here to think about, if that's the circumstance, let it be that. But think about a circumstance where you consistently experience stress. Everyone's got one. If you don't, you're lying. So think about that, and I want you to see if you can dig up where that lives in your body. What does a stress response feel like for you when something is like, oh my gosh? Like where in your body does that live? So we've heard, tightness in the chest and in the throat, lower back. Does anyone have another sensation that they can share? Come on, yeah, right there in the back in the blue sweater. What's your name?
I'm Christina.
Christina, hi. Where does stress live for you?
So for me, I find that a response that I have is clenching my what's this again?
Your stomach?
Yeah, my stomach.
Yeah, like your abdominals are feeling abdominal tension?
Like I'm just doing a perpetual crunch.
Yeah. Anyone resonate with that response? Anyone else feel that? Gotcha. So I love that because every sensation for everyone will be slightly different, but we resonate with a lot of them. Stress lives in a lot of the same places. So like in the stomach, I feel that too. I feel like a sinking feeling in my stomach of like, like it feels like my stomach just sort of drops when I'm stressed. Anybody got something else? What's your name? Brooke.
Yeah.
Where do you feel stress?
I feel it in the joints of my fingers, and I always have to crack my knuckles.
You crack your knuckles so when you're feeling stressed. Gotcha. And so you can probably do that consciously and subconsciously, right? Yeah. Like you'll notice you're doing it, but that is how your body responds to stress. Amazing. Who's got something else? Over here. What's your name?
Maddie.
Maddie, where do you feel stressed?
My jaw.
Your jaw.
Like tightens a little bit, like I do a little clenchy action.
Anyone else feel it in the jaw? Great, wow. Anyone else in the knuckles? Anyone else feel in their hands? Yeah, tension in the hands. Some of you haven't heard from, right here in the gray.
Yeah, when I'm in a stressful performance situation especially, my legs start shaking.
Your legs start shaking. Yeah, anybody else? Yeah. Yeah, right on. Okay, so these are amazing. These are amazing, and I resonate with a lot of them. So what I want you to do is think about where your physical sensation is. And I want you to attach a light or a flag, whichever resonates with you more, that says, I'm stressed. That tells you that you're stressed. So when you notice the physical sensation, because the body is responding actually whether we want it to or not. Like the responses you're having, you're not saying, oh, I need to, tense my butt or clench my throat. Like you're not deciding to do that. The circumstance is something unforeseen and then the body responds. So you're not choosing the physical response. So I want you to notice the physical response and let that tell you that you're stressed. And that's huge. Because what that does is that separates your perception from my body is actually at a threat of dying right now. And like, oh, this is how I'm responding to the situation. And sometimes, we have a stress response. You could be in a situation where you actually are in danger. And in that situation, you do need to respond. So like the body is responding as though we're in danger. But when you're up at the piano in an audition, your body probably is not actually in danger. But it's responding in the way that our bodies evolved to like avoid getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. So we're responding as though we're dying. But, it's a song. So, you're not going to die. And so you don't need to waste necessarily all of that tension on that experience. And so I want you to attach some, like when you notice that feeling, say, oh, my heart rate's increasing, my ears are hot, my face is sinking. That means I'm feeling stressed. And say, this is how I'm responding. I am under stress right now. And that's called awareness. I'm aware of the response my body is having. And that allows you to respond rather than react. Because when we react, it's impulsive, it's reflexive, and sometimes we do stuff that we actually don't intend to do. When we are reacting, we panic. We say things we don't mean to, we act irrationally. And so we're able to be more intentional when we respond. So the moment we can have the awareness to say, I'm having a stress response right now. I'm feeling stressed. What is the next best thing I can do? Welcome to the party. Like, what is the next best decision I can make? And then we actually get to be intentional, which is more aligned to our desired outcome. I want to book this job. What's the best thing I can do to do that? We don't need to waste time panicking. So once we've identified that feeling, then what do? How do we know what the next best thing is to do? So this is where I'm going to give you some strategies to do that. And I love acronyms. So this one is called TALK, which is what we're doing. T-A-L-K. So we're going to talk about it. So once you notice that, I'm feeling stressed right now. I'm having a stress response. Let's talk about it. T stands for take action to improve the situation. So we're going to take action. Is one option. These are all options. We don't necessarily know what the best choice is, but we're going to put take action first because in a situation where you need to take action, that's the most urgent thing you need to do. So sometimes we're feeling stressed because we need to do something. The fire alarm's going off. I need to leave. Grab the dog and the shoes. Shoes and the dog. And so, we're hustling out of there. Or, okay, in the context of the audition, the page is missing. That's telling me, flip to another song and pick another song. The page is gone. So, I've got to do something. We don't have time to panic. Oh, this is asking me to do something in this demanding circumstance. Pick another song. So, T is for take action. T is for take action. T is for take action. You guys are amazing. So A is for accept things as they are. Sometimes that's it. Has anyone been stressed about something that is completely out of their control? Anybody? Right? And so sometimes we're really replaying the stress response for something that we can do nothing about. So, accept things as they are. I mean, the A really can be applied to everything. Even when you have to take action, this is what happens. So there's a degree of acceptance. Like, this is what happened. I wouldn't have chosen it. Not my plan, but hey, this is what's happening. So acceptance, I think, can really be applied to everything. So accepting things as they are means a perspective shift. Means the one that I usually use is, I am going to be a more patient man at the end of this experience. Sometimes when something is not in my control, things like traffic or whatever, I'll be a more patient individual at the end of this. Or I will be better at what I do is a really good one too. When you're thrown a curveball, okay, I'm going to figure this out, and by the end of it, I'll be better at what I do because I will have a keener sense of how to navigate this challenging situation because I've done it. So that's the perspective shift. Rather than resisting it, oh, I'm so stressed about this. It's, all right, I'm going to let this work on me. Let it do what it needs to do, teach me what it needs to teach me. I'm going to accept things as they are because I don't get to decide sometimes. So A is for accept things as they are. A is for accept things as they are. A is for accept things as they are. Yes, amazing. So the next letter in the word talk, come on kindergarten, is L, which stands for leave. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's, oh no, come on, there's a fake door. I should have used that. Leave, That would have been good. So yeah, leave. I mean, this is the flight in fight or flight. Sometimes the best thing we can do is leave a situation. It's not always safe to accept things as they are. Your body's unsafe in a situation. You don't just say, I'm going to accept things as they are. And sometimes we try to take action to improve the situation, and it's futile. It's not fruitful. So we try and change things, it doesn't work. This isn't cool. I'm not going to accept things as they are, so I'm going to leave. And that's empowering. Sometimes you just need to peace out. Like, that's just how it is. And so, I mean, in the circumstance of the audition, going back to accepting things as they are, I mean, you could, I guess, end the cut where the page is missing. I mean, it's an option available to you. This is all about options. I'm not telling you what to do. But you could just end it there, or, get a little a cappella, like maybe the piano drops out and it's like, we're going to keep singing. I'm going to accept the fact that the page is missing. I guess that's available to you too. So you could accept things. But in the leave situation, it is also available to you. If you see that this is the song you were going to sing, maybe it's the only song in your book, I don't know, and this is what I got, and I don't have it. Actually, didn't really want to do this show. I just did it sort of under pressure. I don't want to be here. I'm going to leave. Respectfully, and, that is an option available to you. I mean, I hope people aren't locking you in anywhere. So, leaving is an option. I think socially, you're in a social circumstance, you're at a party or something, and if you're feeling a sinking feeling in your stomach, you're feeling a stress response, and you're like, I don't feel comfortable in this environment, or you're walking somewhere out with someone, you don't feel good about who you're with, that stress response is telling you to dip. You don't need to be there. That's empowering. I mean, has anyone walked away from a situation that they should have walked away from a long time ago? Where they're like, oh, gosh, there I am again. What was I doing? I didn't need to be there. Like, leave is sometimes the flight is what the stress response is asking us to do. Get out. And then you're good. So leave. That's the third letter. Talk is 4 letters. K is the final one. This one's good. So K stands for keep being miserable. or make it worse, So keeping miserable, which doesn't seem really like the best or viable option, but I think it's important to outline it as an option because sometimes we just need to gripe about something a little longer and feel miserable. I mean, has anyone been in a situation where you are either being given options of like, oh, why don't you try this? Or have you tried this or do this? And you're like, no, no, no. Or you're giving those options to someone else and they're like, no, no, no. And like, it's like, sometimes we just need to be upset a little longer or need to complain. I mean, it's also a tactic. Sometimes griping about something gets you what you want. I'm not saying that that is like the most sustainable or like emotionally healthy thing to do, but like, sometimes being miserable and saying, I'm feeling stressed, this is horrible, and panicking, like you go to the, your page is missing, you lose your cool and you book the part because they want you to lose your cool, If you actually decide to be miserable and you don't take the cue to like, take action to change it or accept it as it is or leave, and you are just miserable and are freaking out and panicking and like, not taking a conscious action, who knows? That could be the best thing you need to do. But for me, sometimes I need to be upset for a while and I need to do that in order to get to a place where I'm like, okay, this isn't serving me. I'm ready to do something productive now. I need to wallow in self-pity for a little while. I need to complain. That is an option. And so I think it's important to keep K as an option so that we can highlight it as a choice. Because sometimes it feels like, well, I had to react that way because you did this. It's like, no, you didn't have to respond that way. It's a choice to be reactive, to complain, to respond negatively to something or make it worse. It's a choice that's available to you. And I'm not telling you can't do that. This is not a class that's telling you that you have to do anything. I'm illuminating what the options are. So when we're griping about something and making it worse, we can own that, hey, this is a choice I'm making. I've decided to make things worse. You could do that. And that's cool because that's taught me a lot, the times I've made stuff worse. Or complained or just decided to be miserable and not take action and take a victim mentality. It's taught me a lot about okay, when I play the victim, I do get some soothing sympathy from certain people and that kind of feels nice for a little while. I kind of like that. But overall, when I think about my big picture objectives, it's never really gotten me closer. But it's been soothing in the moment and ultimately I reach a place where, okay, I'm ready to pursue the life of my dreams again. So I'm gonna step out of that. And so that shift has been illuminating. So I think owning when I just need to be upset for a while, because you can tell people that too. When people are giving you unsolicited advice, oh, you should do this, you need to do that. It's like, no, I actually need to just be pissed for a little while. I'm not done being upset. I'm not ready to make nice. A little country song, right? Sometimes we need to own that space, and it's compelling to watch, to be honest. So we've established these are your options. K is for keep being miserable. K is for keep being miserable. K is for keep being miserable. Yes. You can do that. And so talk, let's do a little pop quiz. Okay, T, what does T stand for? Who can? Yes. What does A stand for? What is L? What is K? You guys are amazing. Awesome. So those are options that are available to you every single time. And there actually are no other options. That's it. You have to choose one of them and you have to choose them now. Not now, I mean now, but I mean when you're experiencing the stress response. I mean, unless you're feeling a stress response right now, which, I respect. But if you are feeling, anytime you're feeling a stress response, you can choose one of those options and you have to choose, once you've decided to choose between them, choose it, you have to choose it now. And all of them are available to you, no judgment, because it's all about doing it and saying, okay, what did that do for me? We take action sometimes and it doesn't improve the situation. Okay, well, I can't make that better. I'm going to accept things as they are. I don't feel good accepting things as they are. I'm going to leave. You know, like, you can do them all. Or, you know, start with keep being miserable until you start with, I'm going to take action. And then start at the top, or you can choose any sort of order that you want. But they're all available to you at any time. So let's try it out. Does anyone have like a stressful circumstance that consistently rises up in their life that they're willing to like talk through what options, like what those options would look like? Yeah, what's your name?
My name is Brittany.
Brittany. Hi, Brittany.
Hi. I'm scared about my financial life.
Woo! Anybody resonate with that one? Amen. All right. So, Brittany, how could we, so we're feeling stress. Where does stress live for you in the body?
Usually in my head.
Okay.
I like to clench my teeth a lot, which then gets to the jaw. And I clench my fists a lot.
Okay, so you're thinking about money. Something comes up that makes you think about money. Hands are clenched. You notice that your jaw is clenched. There's a little light that says, I'm feeling stressed right now about money. It's real. How could you take action? What could it be asking you to do? So what would take action look like in this circumstance?
get a job.
Woo! All right. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so getting a job is one option, right?
Yes.
Let's bring it back to Brittany.
I mean, I guess it's hard just because I want to get a job, but I feel like I don't have time for it right now. So that's where the struggle lies.
Okay, so one option would be getting a job. Could there be another option of taking action? What's another way to maybe save money?
That's true.
Right? I mean, that's another option. So like, making more money is another option, but also examining, where am I spending money that maybe I don't need to? And I'm not a financial advisor, so we won't go too far down that road. But, you know, like maybe that feeling of stress is asking us to make some sort of adjustment to our relationship to money. To like, what am I spending money on? Or how can I make more money? And that can sometimes look like moving to cheaper living circumstances, getting another roommate. You know, like there's so many different Tetris-y things we can do with like adjusting our financial situation. But that would be taking action, right? Like it's asking us, maybe I can adjust my living circumstances, right? Okay, so what is accepting things as they are? What does that look like in that situation?
I mean, I guess just accepting that I have no money right now and live with what I have.
Walking in the park. You know, there's beautiful free things to do. Go sit by the river, you know, like accepting, hey, you know, if I'm going to have money later in my life, I know, you know, I'm going to return the investment I've made on the skills I'm cultivating. So I'm going to just accept and learn what it is to be more humble in my means. Like that is something we can do, right? And it's a beautiful thing of like, let it work on you. You know, there are like people take like a vow of poverty in certain like spiritual traditions and stuff like that to learn what it is to like release our attachment to material possessions. Like you can accept things as they are and say, wow, wait, I don't need to like, you know, gripe about not having money, but like I can say, wow, I'm gonna practice humility and my non-attachment to the material. Get better at cooking, you know? You know, chickpeas are an amazing resource. They're inexpensive and great source of protein. Okay, I am not being sponsored by any sort of chickpea company. But yeah, in that situation. Okay, so leave. How could leave apply to this circumstance? I'm gonna live in the forest and I'm gonna totally tap out of the system. I entertain it maybe like twice a year. The idea of like totally unplugging and going to the woods and like I'm done, you know, with the system, you know. And it's healthy for me to like entertain that that's an option, and then I come back and be like, wait, I've got a lot of skills and I can do stuff. So, you know, it helps reinforce that for me. But sometimes entertaining the idea of like leaving in that situation means stepping out of the system where like money means anything. which is a really difficult thing to do, but I think entertaining the options can be reinforcing to the option you choose. Of saying, I could do that, but no way. I don't want to live in the woods and find my own food and not be a person in society anymore. When I entertain that idea when I'm feeling overwhelmed by the sort of tangle of stuff, I'm like, yeah, I could do that. Like, no one's stopping you from going out to the woods and just walking off and figuring it out. You could do that, but there are consequences. There's a price to pay for that. It'll be hard. Winter's coming. So, you'd have to figure it out. So leave is an option of I'm not playing the game of money anymore. I want to leave and not have money mean anything to me. So you could do that. Okay, so, K, what does K look like?
I guess I'll just be miserable.
I'm poor! What is it in, what's that movie, Bridesmaids, where she's like, help me, I'm poor, just on the, on the plane. You could just continue to gripe about it, which is also an option. And maybe there are benefits to it, I don't know. Amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, somebody got another? Yes, in the pink, what's your name? One more time? Kaylee?
Haley was a
Paley. Awesome. So nice to meet you, Paley. What's a circumstance that consistently brings you stress?
I tend to worry about my family a lot.
Your family. Awesome. Yeah, anyone resonate with that one? Yeah, amen. Okay, so what would taking action look like, Paley, with that feeling of stress about your family? What could that feeling be asking you to do? So giving them a call, picking up the phone. So if there's someone you're worried about, we could sit there continuing to worry about them, or we could pick up the phone and hear how they're doing. And even if they are going through something worse than we imagine, we can be there and maybe offer some support. Amazing. Okay, so what would A look like there? Accept things as they are.
I'm thinking of my mom always tells me, no news is good news. So, accepting that, if nothing is happening or if I'm not doing anything, that
Yeah, that's a good one. No news is good news. And accepting that someone will let you know if there's something that you need to know. And so accepting that, hey, I'm not getting a call right now, that means they must be fine. And then that could potentially calm that fear of how that person's doing. Amazing. Let's see, does L apply to this? Technically it could leave. There always is the option of L in this situation would be saying, okay, I don't need to have a family, which, in some situations in people's lives, that is actually the most healthy and sustainable thing someone can do, is when they are feeling stress from a family relationship, is leaving. So that is a viable option, but if you're actually concerned about someone and it isn't a toxic relationship with that person, then maybe leaving isn't an option. And then what is K? What does keep being miserable in that situation look like for you? Right? So we're trying to, there are other things that you want to do in your life, right? You got to study for this, you got to practice this, but then we're devoting mental energy to oh, but how is she doing? How is he doing? I'm so worried about them. And sitting, and when we could be actually doing something that moves us closer to a desired objective we have for our life, we're, devoting this mental energy to something where the person may be totally fine. Or they actually do need your support, and when you call, they're like, I'm so glad you called. I was, I didn't feel good about calling you, but when you reached out to me, that could happen too. So those are both action steps, or accepting, hey, no news is good news, I'm gonna get back to rehearsing. I'm gonna get back to doing what I'm doing. But the keeping miserable means I'm gonna keep devoting mental energy to what's going down. Those are tactics and strategies that we can use sort of cognitively, when we're thinking about, this is what I can do. But just a very simple physical strategy I've learned for feeling stressed that's been really helpful to me came from a mindful self-compassion class I took, where when we're talking about self-compassion, We're talking about applying the kind of compassion we would give to others to ourselves, which is often really hard to do. And so the best way I've had self-compassion sort of outlined for me was imagining like a little puppy that is struggling to get up the stairs. It's like trying to like get up the stair, and the sort of like, aww, like you would give to that. Seeing if we could give that same feeling to ourselves when we're struggling with something. Can you give the same, aw, I'm struggling. I'm struggling with that. How sweet. And like giving ourselves the same kind of love. And because we are mammals, we often can respond positively to like soft vocalizations and soothing touch. And so something, just from the palm here, I want you to like stroke your palm a little bit there. And the same way, like if a dog was responding to like fireworks or something and it's like freaking out, it's like shaking, it's under the table, the way we organically know to be like, hey, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Or a kid scrapes their knee that you're like, you're all right, you're all right. That like giving yourself that same sort of, you're all right. That like just the sort of stroking motion can actually de-escalate our heart rate. And just as a physical strategy. And I've used it a lot working with clients, I work with, youth who are experiencing homelessness in, really difficult situations. And sometimes they're sharing things with me that are really overwhelming to hear at times. And I can be listening to them, giving my full attention, and I'll have my hand there of just to sort of center my nervous system, to cool it down so that I can fully give my attention, because sometimes I feel overwhelmed by hearing things. And you're sitting somewhere, you're waiting, you don't know, what do I do with my hands, right? Like when we're afraid of something, tension, we can often, what do I do with my hands? That sometimes just saying, hey, I'm gonna give myself some soft, soothing touch. Just the intention of it, of like, I'm gonna self-soothe. I'm not going to look for something externally to calm me down. I have the tools to see if I can like give myself some nurturing when I am not feeling nurtured in this situation. And so that sort of self-compassion of, oh, I'm struggling. I can't, I'm trying, but I'm not successful. Like, how sweet of me to keep trying, Like you wouldn't be like, you suck, your legs are too short, you little puppy, like we wouldn't do that, or to other people, like, come on, climb. But we're ruthless to ourselves sometimes, right? Does anyone resonate with that? Of like, if there's something you screw up, you're like, come on, you suck, why are you even trying, Like we're horrible to ourselves sometimes internally. Things we would never say to someone else, let alone a little puppy who's like doing its best to just get up the stairs so it can get some cuddles, We wouldn't do that. And so like, we're the puppy too. Like you can give that to yourself. Does anyone have any questions, whether it's about this class or just about, I don't know, being a person in general, that I'll see if I have any answers for? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that self-compassion voice lessons. I'm just a little curious, just like a detail and how that's different from, in lack of a better word, like a regular voice lesson.
Sure.
Like mental tactics you have.
Totally. Well, the difference is sort of who that's for. So I gear these lessons toward folks who like want to sing, but won't because of self-judgment or negative self-talk. And so a part of them getting to the place where they sing is talking about some of the stuff that we've talked about today, of like what's at stake. If somebody were to hear you sing and say, wow, you're horrible, and not give you like a constructive criticism, does that mean more about you as a singer or about them as a person? And sort of detangling what the mental blockages are to the singing. Because everybody has a voice. I mean, I think everybody does. Maybe there's like, people who technically don't, but I think like everybody, if you can talk, you can sing. Like I don't siphon through like, oh, if you're tone deaf or don't have rhythm, like I won't work with you. Like it's about, like I want to live in a world where more people sing. I think it would be a better world. And I don't like that singing seems in our culture to be reserved for people who are like talented enough to earn to be able to do it. Like, you shouldn't only sing if it's somebody's birthday. Like, it feels good.
We should probably sing for Deirdre's birthday today because that sounds so like.
Wait, Deirdre is your name? Let's do it. Let's sing happy birthday to Deirdre.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna sing happy birthday to Deirdre. Do you mind accompanying us? I don't have my book with the money note. I'm stressed. Let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday